Welcome to Real Swell. Let's talk about some movies. Like, comment, subscribe. Hope you enjoy the show. Him comes out tomorrow. Stars Marlon Wayans and Tyreek Withers. It's a new horror film produced by Jordan Peele. Now, he didn't write or direct it, but I do feel it still fits within the genre of horror movies that he has written and directed. It's about a college athlete, a quarterback, who is getting ready to take the next step into professional league. Now, he doesn't go into the NFL, and I don't know if that was intentional to just not have to deal with the optics of that, but the message is the same. But he is getting ready for the combine. He is being scouted by all these teams, one in particular. And again, it's not the NFL, but the next step into professional sports after college. Well, he is on track to being the greatest quarterback that this generation has seen. And he grew up idolizing a particular star, Marlon Wayans' character, Isaiah White. He is a quarterback who, at the peak of his own professional career, he suffered a leg injury. And a lot of people were concerned about whether or not he would be able to rise to that same level of skill and performance that he did prior to that injury. And it turns out we immediately get the answer to that. And it's yes, he goes on to win eight more championships. That particular injury didn't really hold him back. And Tyreek's character witnesses this injury, actually. He is probably 6 or 7 watching the game at home with his family, and his dad makes sure that he sees this injury. And it was pretty gruesome. He breaks his leg, and part of his bone is sticking out from his leg, and the rest of his leg is limp. And his dad makes him look at the screen and say, "Hey, this is what a real man looks like. Um, it takes sacrifice, no pain, no gain, kind of thing." And he makes sure that his son, Cameron, understands that in order to be great, there will come some kind of sacrifice. And he carries that forward with him throughout his life. And after that scene of him being shown that injury, we skip to him being an adult, him being praised for being such a great quarterback and having been such a great quarterback throughout his high school and college career. And he is practicing at night just on the field wherever he is training, and he gets hit over the head. Somebody just walks up, some fan dressed in full costume, some kind of goat costume, and knocks him over the head. And this injury is pretty substantial. The doctors are kind of afraid that if he continues to play any kind of contact sport, this could irreparably damage his brain. And that's one of the many commentaries that this movie offers. It's essentially, what is it that we are willing to do, either to ourselves and our body, just to be able to play this sport? And what is it that we are willing to allow others to do just to be able to play this sport? And is it worth it making that sacrifice, quote unquote? So this brain injury, he's got probably a dozen stitches in his head, and he suffers through the trauma of this brain injury throughout the movie. And again, it's one of the commentaries that it kind of offers is, we put these kids through a lot just so we can put them on a field and have them, smash their heads against another human's head. And our skulls aren't built for that. And that's kind of actually one of the lines in the movie. And as he is trying to prepare for the combine, he actually goes into this panic attack because he knows that he has this brain injury, but he still wants to perform. He still wants to get to the next level, and he still wants to play football. And he kind of freaks out because of that. And then he skips the combine. Well, Isaiah White still wants to try him out. He wants to see if he really has what it takes. He is willing to look past that injury to see if he could really, make it onto the field and be the quarterback that everyone is saying that he can be. Now, what this also means, though, is Isaiah White is testing him to make sure that he is capable to take over the reins because he is retiring soon. And he is kind of taking Cameron under his wing to mentor him, to coach him, to get him ready for what comes next. This is where it kind of takes a turn because Isaiah White is revered as a god by this cult group that exists in the movie, and he has developed this god persona because of it. And it takes the goat status to the highest degree of extreme where someone takes that complex and just embodies it. And that's what Marlon Wayans does. He just embodies this God complex because he has been revered for so long as the goat. Well, he goes so far as to put Cameron through all of these tests because, again, he wants to make sure that he knows what it takes to be the GOAT. And one other thing that this movie offers in the way of commentary is the concept of Jesus. The team that Isaiah White plays for, they're called the Saviors. And one of the opening shots of Isaiah White in his uniform is he's got a crown of thorns around the shoulder pads of his jersey. And throughout the movie, they give this symbolism of Jesus and what he went through, what he sacrificed in order for all of us to be here. Again, that's what the movie is portraying here. And it kind of tells us that that's who Isaiah White believes he is. That's what he believes he's gone through. He sacrificed so much of himself to allow others to be able to enjoy this sport. And that's the sacrifice that he's made. Well, he wants to make sure that Cameron can also make that sacrifice and see himself as this Jesus figure. In fact, they put Cameron in several different poses throughout the movie that tells us yes, Isaiah is grooming him, quote unquote, to be this Jesus figure and to make sure that he understands that that's what it means to be a quarterback. That's what it means to be the GOAT, to sacrifice, to give your blood, sweat, and tears literally so that this game can continue. It's very trippy sometimes. There's a lot of supernatural instances, and it's not outright supernatural. Well, up until the very last scene, it becomes supernatural, but a lot of what seems to be supernatural are just visions that Cameron has because of his head injury. They kind of play with the idea that what he is feeling, what he's experiencing is because of his brain injury, but they keep it vague enough that it could also be a supernatural element to what's going on in his head. Now, one of the other commentaries within this movie is how we hold these athletes to such a high pedestal and what we demand of them in the form of the sacrifices they have to make in order to be great. The pressure that fans put on these athletes lead them to believe that they have to make these sacrifices because that's what the fans want. And then it becomes, do you play this sport? Do you aspire to be the greatest of all time because you love the game or because you want to satisfy what everyone's expectations are? Are those expectations unreasonable? Are they too high? And the film asks the audience that by showing us what it means for these athletes to say, no, that's the expectation. I'm going to meet it, whatever the cost. And is that cost too high? And the movie then goes into how predatorial agents and the league are when it comes to these athletes. It says, this is the expectation, this is the price. You're going to pay it. You don't have a choice because what we're offering you because of this sacrifice pales in comparison. Don't worry about what the effect on you it's going to have. The rewards and the benefits are enough to outweigh whatever reservations you might have. And all the things that these owners and all the teams, these agents, everything that they do to try to keep their golden goose and to create that golden goose. And it kind of waves its finger at that particular group as well. So again, it delves deep into the mind of these athletes and why they do what they do. And it's a mix of their love of the thing and then those expectations that are put on them that are or are not, depending on who that athlete is, too high. And it's so interesting, this movie. There's so many themes in it. There are so many interweaving thesis and arguments, and there's a lot of conversation that the movie is having with the audience as it explores each of these avenues through which we demand of other people and of these athletes. I would have to see this movie again. There are a lot of themes and there are a lot of dots that are connected throughout the movie. There are a lot of parallels that the movie calls back upon itself to fully grasp the story that's being told and the many messages within the movie. It's very good. Marlon Wayans does an amazing job. Tyreek Withers, this is the first that I've seen him in a movie, and he did very well. I don't know if or what else he's been in to judge that against, but this movie he did very well. And I would say go see this movie, and again, probably go see it a couple of times. And it's not necessarily a new concept we've been asking ourselves for decades, is football worth the cost? Is it too violent? Is, you know, the physical harm that these players are doing to themselves and each other worth the entertainment value? We've been asking that question forever, but this movie explores it in a very interesting way. They kind of liken it to the Colosseum, gladiators in the Colosseum. And in order to be the gladiator who makes it out on top, two of them go in and only one can come out. And that's the kind of sacrifice you have to make. In the Colosseum, what that means is one gladiator kills the other one. That's the extreme that this movie presents. It's that's what you have to do in order to be considered the greatest of all time. That's the kind of sacrifice it takes. Can you take a life kind of extreme? Can you take that kind of sacrifice? It's so good, actually. All the different things that it says, all the different questions that it poses to us as audience members and as to athletes as well. Everybody is getting asked this question: are we good people, basically, for demanding this of these athletes? So check it out. It's very good. Thank you for coming to this screening of Real Swell. I hope you enjoyed. As you head out, I've got three things to ask of you. Number one, pick up your trash. These ushers don't get paid enough. Number two, make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss the next screening. And number three, hit that like button. I'll see you all next time. Make sure you've got your ticket.